Me and only me, presumably by distorted colors. I loved Pokémon games. Though as I grew older, I started using emulators and ROMs, but I decided to play my Pearl again. I had used my Action Replay to mod it. I had all my wonderful Pokémon. Of course, my Torterra, in which I had named Leafy, was level 100 and my favorite. I scanned through my PC and found a Pokémon, an Eevee to be exact. Which was impossible. I had evolved all my Eevees into each possible evolution. I never had one. It was level 33. I retrieved it from my PC anyways and decided to train it. I checked its stats first. It was a sassy nature. It knew some standard attacks as well. Quick Attack, Growl, Sand Attack, and Helping Hand. I figured I would train it and evolve it into another Umbreon, since I loved Umbreon. So I did it. Friendship was maxed out and it was night. He started to evolve. Then it stopped evolving. I was pretty pissed at the time. Then it said, Eevee refused to evolve. I looked back at the stats. The friendship went down to nothing. I thought of it as a glitch. I went to my PC. My Pokémon were gone. Every single one. I had basically all of them collected. They were all gone. Each and every one. My boxes were renamed. I liked to label my boxes Grass, Fire, Water, etc. All of them were renamed to Gone. But there was one box, filled with unknowns. I had read Creepypastas before and I didn't like where this was headed, but I looked through all of them. The unknowns spelt me and only me. I was scared out of my mind. I looked at my party. Only that Eevee was in there. I looked at the moves. There they were. Curse, Perish Song, Scary Face, and a new move. It was called Addict. Its nature also changed to Jealous. I've never seen that nature before. The moves also made me think of every cliché Pokémon creepypasta I've read before. I backed out of the PC. My Eevee started to evolve. It evolved into another Eevee, but this Eevee was very different. Black fur, no eyes, a red mane. The name of the newly evolved Eevee was Neglect. The game saved. I was shocked. A message popped up. You will only love me now, Lewis. Lewis was my real name, and I used it for my trainer. The unknowns were also out of my PC. I only had Neglect, but for some reason, I got over it. I used Neglect to rematch the Pokémon League. I did not know why I did it. But when I used him, it said the enemy Pokémon were too scared to fight and fainted instantly. I didn't even have to use a move. Talk about easy experience. I didn't mind Neglect. It was like Eevee had a ghost evolution. I mean, it wasn't that bad. After I beat Cynthia, the game restarted. I was in a cave, though, not my normal home. There were tons of Pokeballs everywhere. Each one I clicked had one of my Pokemon dead, torn apart. It was a horror. Plakia, Dialga, Leafy, Infarape, and Polion, all of them dead. My dear Primeape I had always raised. It said Neglect used Addict. The screen went black. My trainer was there, with bloodshot eyes and a psychotic smile. I shut off the game and reloaded. I couldn't choose anything. It just showed my trainer, all psychotic. I removed Pearl. I decided to play Leaf Green, my only other Pokémon game for a console. The rest were ROMs. It put me in the same cave, a bunch of Pokeballs, showing my Leaf Green team. Neglect was on my team. He used Addict. The same thing that happened in Pearl occurred. I went on my emulator. My hacked Emerald I had made using GBA Pokemon Editor. Same thing. Neglect was there in the cave with me. He used Addict. Sapphire, Neglect was there once again. Every Pokemon game, Neglect was in it. Months later, I bought Black. I started the game. There was no opening, I was in a cave. There was one Pokeball. I opened it, neglect came out. That was Me and Only Me. Final thoughts? A decent idea, I guess, executed extremely poorly. Also, really boring. One thing that bothered me right off the bat with this story is the sentence structure. Constantly I see periods where commas would be perfectly acceptable. The whole story is told in very short sentences that cut off at really awkward spots. I guess the story had some good ideas, but between the extremely choppy pacing and the bland, creepy stuff, there isn't much to this story other than that it's not that good. Perhaps with a lot of peer editing, it could be good, but in its current state, it's not even worth reading. Also, as a side note, and I believe I've said this before, just because you point out how cliché something is, doesn't make you using it any less cliché. It makes you look like an idiot. All you're saying is, the thing I just did sucks, and I know it, but I did it anyway. That's it for this story in the first episode of this week's special Creepypasta Every Day. Tune in again tomorrow when I read Quilava is Mourning, and every Saturday on other weeks for Creepypasta from our own community over on the forum. Until next time, sweet dreams.